What is up, YouTube? This is a vlog number one. To get started, a little introduction. My name is Yosef, 29 years old. I've been playing poker for about uh, 8, almost 9 years. And yeah, I play a lot of cash games, tournaments. I do online, offline. So with this channel, I want to have a combination, kind of all those things. And with this video, I want to start off with one of my biggest wins I had about a year ago, which was a $200 buy-in in PokerStars, Pennsylvania. And we ended up getting second place out of about 2,700 people. So I did not record the whole journey per se. So I do have pictures of my different chip stacks and my ranking until the final table, and then I do have the final table recorded. At the time, I thought I was recording my voice, which I realized after the 2 hours of the final table being over that it didn't. So I will be talking over the while I'm watching the video. So some things I do remember, some crazy moments. Some things I don't really know 100% what I do, but I still kind of talk through the thought process. And my game's always evolving, so sometimes I might not choose the same line as I did whenever I recorded this. So without further ado, like I said, the next couple of minutes is just me going over the position I'm in throughout the tournament. It's going to be a couple minutes of that. If you want to skip that and just get right to the final table, I'll put a timestamp down. And then after that, it's just going to be the final table and how we take it down. Please subscribe. I'm really looking to, try to do this as much as I can. I already play a lot of poker. Not so much now just because the work and everything like that. But if I'm able to play poker, give you guys some updates and, have fun with it, I wouldn't mind eventually going up there with some of the vlogging greats. So let's get to the poker. All right, so here we're starting off. This is like right when the tournament started in third, actually. It was funny because I ended up. This is, by the way, Mr. Wibbles is not me. This is just me taking a picture of the 3 out of 1,000 people. I literally had aces pre-flop, and it was like the funniest thing. It was like raise, re-raise, 4-bet, 5-bet, 6-bet shove for like 300 big blinds each we had. So the guy got in with kings versus aces. I just kind of lucked out. I don't even know how I'm still not chip leader. It's crazy action, I guess, but I ended up having about 600 big blinds after that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then a couple hands later, I became the chip leader. Now, this is before all the total entries. I believe it was like 2,700 total entries with the rebuys. So this is still new before everyone joined. And I remember at this spot, it's like, wow, I'm in first place. And at the time, like it was a 250,000 guarantee, and first place is probably like 40,000 or 45,000, and a $200 buy-in. So I was like pretty excited about that. And this is actually me here, just by 44. So this was PokerStars Pennsylvania. It was their first Pennsylvania event, and it's actually to date still the highest recorded guarantee for them, I believe. So just kind of going throughout, I was able to play really aggressive. This looks like it just was right after the first spot, but actually a lot of people have kind of dwindled down here, as you see the blinds, as opposed to 300 apiece. Now everyone's like 20, 80, 90 more reasonable spots. So at this point there was about 853 people left, and so I was still kind of in the top 10 of that. And my whole goal was, this is a 2-day event, so my whole goal was to keep applying pressure and just to keep maintaining the aggressive route and try to get as many chips, and that way if I lose a couple flips, you still have the chips to survive. As you can see, out of the 854 left, there were 18 here in this spot, and then 4 out of 589. So 467 people made the money. I think the minimum was probably like $400, something like that. So it's still crazy. You get through like 2,400 people and you just get $200. That's the unfortunate thing about tournaments. You want to get top three, and I'm lucky that I was able to do it in this one. So yeah, I mean, really nothing too much, just a couple of spots, and there's going to be a couple interesting hands before, the final table stuff. I'm just kind of giving you a perspective of, how I was trying to maintain. And this is actually my chip stack graph after 6.5 hours of play. Kind of see, I had the first initial double up, and then, I was just more so playing my hands as I should. I don't know what happened here. It looks like I lost a lot of chips, and then just maintaining and riding the wave. This is a crazy incline, so I think I probably knocked a couple players out here and here as well. So 1 out of 321 and 1 out of 291. So this was actually the end of day 1. So I did start off day 2 as the chip leader, end of day 1, and to be honest, this is like pretty nerve-wracking, just because like 291 players left. You're still not really guaranteed a lot of money. I think we're in like the $500-600 range. So the thing about being chip leader too is you do have the edge where you could be a lot more aggressive, open more, and everything like that. But I think it could also be bad because a lot of people kind of play spots where they shouldn't, or they're just opening certain hands where you have a huge chip stack. Like the goal is also to preserve the stack, and I've seen it even like from experience where I've been first place before in chips and then ended up freaking busting out and just flushing it down the toilet. So from previous spots, kind of going to sleep that night, I was just thinking like, all right, like I'm not gonna let this chip leader thing get to my head. I'm gonna still be aggressive about it, but I'm gonna pick smarter spots and just not be raising anything for the sake of it. Because a lot of people know that too, because you have the chips. The other thing is too was I actually could not go to sleep. The funny thing was I was excited about this tournament for some reason before I actually bought, the day before the tournament started. So I really didn't sleep that much, and I was doing other things. So when I actually played, I was pretty tired. And then because of me being chip leader in day 2, and it was a lot on my mind. And at this point, first place was about $75,000. Just a lot of money. I was really nervous about it, and I was like, man, so I couldn't sleep. So starting day 2, I was actually up for about 2.5, almost 3 days. And yeah, so I was pretty wiped out. I had a lot of Red Bulls and beef jerkies and all that, but so kind of starting out, even early on, I lost a lot of chips. I think it was like a flip or two that I lost, and even losing like 40,000 chips, 10% of my stack, I still was chip leader here. So it kind of humbled me a little bit, like, all right, you know what to do. You got to kind of rock it out. So really nothing ended up happening for a while as far as like anything too crazy I remember. Out of the 291, we got down to about 80 people, and this is kind of the hand that was a make or break for me. So what happened was we were down to about 80 people. I think I was probably like somewhere in the 40s, so I was about average stack at this point. This hand occurred. Basically, I ended up opening for middle position with ace queen here, and the button defends. Flop is jack 7 ace. I continuation bet, and here at the blinds are 8,000, 4,000, 8,000. So this is actually like a lot of blinds at this point. I can't remember how much like the raise was, or if there was even a 3-bet, to be honest with you guys. 100%, I can't remember. But I think what happened was I bet, he defended, I bet again, and that's what it was. So I bet on the churn, and I bet on the flop, he called. I bet on the churn, and he raised. So I was kind of like, you know, there's not really too many hands he can have to raise here. He could have turned like a flush draw here. You know, maybe ace seven, ace jack, even ace eight would make sense. Him kind of leading here, but I wasn't really too sure. So you know, I couldn't really fold. It was too strong to fold. Especially with how much I committed. So I ended up calling, and I was just hoping to go check check, and you know, it would be be the end of it. So what happened was I checked over to him and the villain shoves. So the crazy thing is I do have him covered, but by only 10,000 chips, which here it's 1.5 big blinds. So this spot really stressed me out because there's still about 80 people left, and like I said, when I think that when the hand started, it was about, you know, mid 40s or whatever. Um, so I had a decision, man. I was just thinking about it. I was thinking about it. And really, the only hand that made sense for him to play this how it was a set on the flop, you know, or ace eight. I just couldn't really think about any other things. Um, so, you know, because like pocket jacks, right? Like I bet, you know, I have an ace and stuff. Pocket jacks or pocket sevens would just call here. There's no reason to raise. You know, it's a very rainbow board, no flush draws. Not really too many combination of straight draws here. And when the eight comes, though, it brings a backdoor flush and more straight options. So maybe he could have raised with the set. And now boated up on the river, which is why he's shoving to get value from a hand like mine. The other thing was ace eight. You know, he defends ace eight on the button. Ace on the flop, he defends. Eight comes, giving him two pair. He check. He raises my bet and then jams. So I was just thinking for value. These are the only two hands. Either he has pocket sevens, ace eight, or pocket jacks, and then even pocket jacks. I kind of didn't think he had, just because I think he would have three bet me pre-flop. So I was more leaning on just a couple combinations of those hands. On top of that, too, with the tournaments, I try to note little specific details and tells on my opponents. And the thing that made me call here is that you can see he's marked as red. Um, the red is more of like aggressive line. And I marked that he overvalues weak aces. Literally in the notes, that's what it said. So I remember the specific hand where I hovered over the call button and my friend was there. And I turned my head, I was sitting in my chair, and I turned and clicked the call button without even looking. And I turned around. And then I walked away from my seat, you know, because this was the hand. And 80th place is still paying like $900. So it's like, you know, it was a huge hand and a huge moment too. So villain shows ace four of diamonds, and you see if we would have lost, we would have had 11,000 chips. So I turn back around, I see the ace four, and me and my friend are just freaking hollering. You know, we're like, yeah, like. And this is actually the hand that ended up taking me to the top 20 stack after this. And at that point, you know, it was just kind of going with the flow. This hand, I think, I can't quite remember, but I think we got it in on the churn, I believe. I had my straight, and you know, he didn't believe me, and yeah, this was a nice double up here. The thing is here too with I think nines could definitely fold, just because even if he didn't put me on 7-8 for the straight, I think, you know, with all ICM, I mean, ICM in this tournament is freaking crazy. So I think he definitely should be folding. But he didn't believe me, called it down on the turn, and we scooped that one. So here we go back to being first out of 92. And you can see some of the stuff, and we got 2 million chips. Now this hand was kind of a little emotional roller coaster as well. I believe he opened. No, I opened here. He defended his big blind, and then the flop was 10 queen 10. I continued betting, and he ended up raising, I believe. With 10 queen 10, I mean, we have pocket jacks. It's very unlikely that, you know, we're up against a queen. I mean, there are some combination, but you can't really fold, I think, because then you're going to be too exploitative where, you know, you're going to get overpair to a lot of hands the majority of the time. Like if I have pocket 10s and it's 10 jack, or pocket 9s and it's 10 jack 10, you know, like there's always overcards. So I think it made sense to at least call one more time. When the 9 came, I think he bet again, and at this point we have an open ender. You know, we're definitely scared of a queen still here. You know, it's a possibility. And then with the flush coming in as well, we're kind of a little bit worried and wanted to evaluate the river, which came a jack. So it gave us a boat, and we got lucky on that one. All right, so here 14 out of 24, 8 out of 22, 5 out of 20, 3 out of 19, 3 out of 18, 2 out of 18. And the thing too is when I do show you guys the final table footage, you will see the difference in the pay gaps. It's pretty crazy. You can actually see a little bit here when I removed this. But I think, yeah, 2 out of 6. So I'm not going to spoil the rest of the final table. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because I'm going to put this in the title anyway. And we actually ended up making a deal. We were heads up. I'll be honest, heads up is not really my strong suit. You know, I've been trying to practice and I've been a lot better since I played this tournament, but you know, it's just not my strong suit. So at this point, I had 12 million chips. He had 28 million, so he had double the chips. First place was 75,000. Second place was about 52,000. So that's essentially a $23,000 heads up, which I really didn't feel comfortable doing. So we ended up chopping up. He actually gave me 6,000 more than what second place paid. So instead of, you know, getting second, getting 52, I took 58. He took 64. And then we left 5,000 aside to play for first place. So then that kind of allowed me to already lock up 6,000 more, and then if I were to win an additional 5, and you know, rather play a $5,000 heads up as opposed to a $23,000 heads up. And yeah, we actually ended up getting second. So you know, I'm happy with the deal just because if I didn't take the deal, I would have got 52,000 anyway. So I actually ended up getting you know, $6,000 more for it, which is huge because this is a $200 buy-in. So you know, you're talking about 30 buy-ins. So yeah, so ultimately the guarantee was 250,000. It doubled, more than doubled, to 515,000. There was 2,700 entries, including about 1,000 rebuys, and 2-day event. It took us about 14.5 hours to win. We played about 8 hours first day, and then the rest on the second day. And this is what I was talking about. You know, it's like the pay jumps are pretty crazy. Like you get, you know, 18th place for 1,600. Like, you know, even 9th place was 4,600. Like making the final table here, I mean, $4,600 for a $200 buy-in is still a nice amount to win, but you know, most of the money is just here. So the funny thing too is I don't have it in the video, but when we got down to top 5, I was actually chip leader, and there was like a deal that we wanted to discuss just because you know, the ICM offered me about $48,000 at the time when we were down to 5 people. And I remember, I was willing to take the deal just because of the variance. At this point, too, I was losing a lot of flips, like sevens versus ace kings, just stuff like that. And I had a decent amount of chips, but I wasn't that far ahead from anybody. So I just figured, well, if I take this $48,000 right now, you know, it's better than losing 2 flips and potentially having to go all in and then getting out in 5th place and winning $18,000. It's a $30,000 difference, and we actually all agreed to do the deal, but one of the players actually was playing on an iPad, and for whatever reason, the software wasn't working. He couldn't see the numbers. He couldn't accept the deal. So that was actually the guy that ends up getting third. I believe was having issues, which is why we didn't make a deal until the final 2. And it's hilarious because I think even 5th place, the guy in 5th in chips, we are gonna probably pay him like 36,000. So like that guy playing on an iPad cost this guy like freaking $18,000. But besides that, yeah, we're gonna get to the video, and if you guys have any anything as far as suggestions or even for making future vlogs and stuff, let me know. I'm pretty new to all this stuff and pretty excited about it. So alright. Alright, so in this hand, we are starting off with ace queen from the small blind. So I'll be pausing it in and out, talking about the hand. But I was actually gonna 3-bet here. I'm starting at 4 out of 9 on the final table, but I figured that if I just call, this guy would most likely shove. So I just called, hoping he would go all in from the big blind, and he just calls. So here I'm looking to check, kind of playing flow. I'm 100% thinking I have the best hand here. I'm not really worried about anything. I'm actually trying to keep all his bluffs in. Ace high board, he's going to try to rep that really hard. And we have some of his aces dominated, ace jack or so. We lose ace 10, ace king, but I'm not really worried. So I check again, letting him hang himself. And when he checks it back, I go for some value here, with some hands like kings, jacks, or something like that probably thinks I'm bluffing, and he actually does something weird here, which kind of just stumped me. So he just clicks back, and before we see his hand, I can't fold here. Click back like ace king, some kind of sets or something, but it didn't make sense because I don't think ace king would check back the turn here. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe ace jack, he's overvaluing, trying to get a little extra value, but no, he just has a set of 5s that he rivered. So good for him. I was actually upset at myself for not playing the hand a little bit more aggressive and being too trappy. That was a pretty big pot, and gave him a lot of chips. So here I'm hovering over this guy, basically hoping he shoves, and I'm gonna snap him off. The longer he tanks, the quicker I'm gonna do it. So I'm just waiting here. I know we're gonna be flipping most of the time, and you can't actually see it. Hold up. Apologize about this screen up here. But I believe he has ace queen, so hopefully that's gonna be the last hand that gets blocked off. But yeah, he had ace queen, so we take it down. Here we are in the big blind. We have pocket 4s, so now 8 people remain. We are guaranteed $6,600. So I gave everyone a nice little 2K jump. I'm not sure what I do. Okay, I thought I was gonna 3-bet that, but also too, you'll see here when I started the final table, I was 4th place, and I ended up getting up to 1st. just because of the aggressiveness. You know, yet again, these pay jumps are pretty crazy, and I felt aggression was the only way to win, and this is why I just check raise him here with pocket fours. A lot of times he's going to be c betting, you know, pretty much 100% of his range, so it's not really likely he has some of that, and you know, even if he does, yeah, good luck to him. Here we're down to 7 people already, 9,000 locked up. To be honest, a lot of this is just really folding, or it's just raising and everyone's folding, and I'm just taking the blinds. So I only kind of saved the good hands just to make the video short. So 8-6 suited here in the big blind, and I'm already thinking of some up to no good plays here. I'm thinking, how can I steal this pot? So I wanted to make sure it checked through, just to make sure that they really don't have a piece of it. Usually on a monotone board like this, when nobody shows interest, I like to kind of, you know, take a shot at it. Here I'm risking 3 big blinds, but I could potentially be winning 7. So I think risk versus reward is pretty good, especially, I mean, what really hands are going to be felt comfortable? I think like kings could definitely check there, and you know, check that flop, maybe call 1 bet, but if I barrel twice, it's very hard to just call with a pair, and if they only have a flush draw like a diamond or ace of diamond or whatever, and you know, four cards till flush don't come, then the second barrel is going to work anyway. So this guy bets, I call. Yeah, I think I just float here just because I felt a lot of weakness, and with the ICM implications again, I'm putting them to the test. Like, you know, you really want to call down with your mediocre pair. Could also had missed hearts. Yeah, I mean, just aggressive lines. You got to think 7th place is paying 9,000, first is 74, or yeah, 75,000 almost. So it's a $65,000 gap. I mean, even just the 6th place, you know, you're talking about an additional $4,000. So Queen 5, good enough to shove. He's going to be folding everything, and even if he has a hand like Ace X, King X, most of those holdings usually have about 40% against. Keeping up the aggression. And the nice thing is too here is, because I'm being so aggressive, like even if this guy has a decent hand, like let's just say he had pocket 10s, when this guy folds, he's gonna almost have to fold everything, because he doesn't want to, you know, flip with me, lose, where, you know, he has these 2 short stacks, you know. So really this guy should be guaranteed 5th place money, which is 18,000. That's a $8,000 difference. Here, open ender with the ace of diamonds. Continue c betting. I don't really have to make it too big that way. You know, they could continue with a lot of their hands that I dominate, and even if they call me with a pair, I'm doing really well against that anyway. I actually remember this hand, 10-6 suited. And as you can see too, I'm 2nd out of 7th now, so I went from 4 out of 9 to 2 out of 7. And the thing about it is too, I'm gonna pause this here. I looked at it like this, right? I was thinking to myself, well, you know, this is a lot of money even for me, you know, but they're all feeling that too, right? Like there's a $200 buy-in. There's a lot of people that entered. You know, like for example, right? If this was like a $5,000 tournament and first place is 75,000, or you know, it's like, it's not as much, I guess, pressure for everybody else. So with this being, you know, such a huge amount up top, especially for the amount of buy-in, I looked at it like this. I said, look, I'm not gonna pretend like it's 75,000 up top. I'm gonna play this like how I would play a $20 tournament that's, you know, 2K up top. Like I'm gonna play aggressive, and if I, you know, play a super aggressive in a good spot, I'm not saying go crazy and shove every hand, But if I pick some really good spots and be aggressive at the right time, I'm gonna have an edge against all these players. You know, whether they're better than me or not, just because I'm more aggressive. Because it's very hard to make hands, so I'm putting them to the test, and I'm getting one, two, you know, 1.5 big blinds at a time, and that's what kind of got me to even through the whole tournament, to be honest. So here he raised, I called, he called. So I checked, and he's gonna c bet, and this is like ABC stuff. You know, he's gonna c bet a lot of the time. So I'm just looking at this board like, okay, you know, he raised, he called, I called, 10, 2, 3 flop, 2 hearts, and he c bets. It's actually a pretty big c bet, a little bit more than half. You know, I'm thinking, all right, what does he have? I mean, he's repping a overpair, you know, but he could also have ace, king, king, queen. I mean, there's just so many hands that miss this, and the only hands we're going to continue is going to be overpairs or, you know, some of the strong suited flush draws. And he doesn't have any sets. Like, I don't really think he has pocket twos, threes, and we block 10. So, you know, a lot of time he's just c-betting just to c-bet. I think this is where a lot of people make mistakes too. You don't have to c-bet all the time, and because of it, we're gonna punish him. So we're like, you know, this is us kind of thinking our process of what I just said through, and I said, all right, good luck. You know, you don't have it. Call my bluff. And I was just like, just fold. There's a lot of chips, but you know, you have to kind of do it. He's thinking about it too, so I don't know if he had something like a flush draw that he probably folded, or even something like, I don't know, maybe pocket jacks or something. He's scared of his set. So we got that through. Now this was a weird hand. All right, so this hand was another crazy one. So look at the stacks, for example. Right, I have 72 big blinds. This guy is the only guy that covers me. He has 76, 59, 54, and then these two short stacks, 12 and 13. So out of like these two, you're already basically taking them out of the tournament, you know. We're down to 6, so right now we're guaranteed 13,000. So these two people, assuming they get 5th and 4th, like, or 6th and 5th, this is huge ICM here, right? So this is what I was factoring in this hand. And this guy, he's so weird where, you know, he opens big, like, and I've seen him open big with like really strong hands such as queens and queen kings and stuff like that, but he makes it 6x. Like, this is standard for this guy. And I was noting that and looking at this open with queens, you know, I was actually pretty excited. I was like, okay, well, you know, he's opening, he has something decent. Only thing that beats me is kings and aces. But I was looking to raise him here. As far as sizing, I think if I would make it like 20, he'd pretty much fold. And if he shoves, then he either has ace, king, aces, or kings. You know, we block queens. And jacks, possibly. But my whole plan was probably raise fold, raise 20. If he jams, I was really considering folding. Just yet again because ICM. Because here, if I lose 54 big blinds, I know I'm down to call it what, 20, you know, 18, and then now I'm in their territory. Or if I lose 20 big blinds, then I'm still good. You know, I'm still ahead of a lot of these guys. So that's what I was thinking at this point. And as I was thinking that, you see this clicking thing? That's my thinker. This guy does what I was gonna do. He made it 18. So this was just like in the grinder. And, you know, going back to my original plan, I said, well, look, I was gonna make it 20, and if I would have got raised, I was gonna fold. So I'm trying to just think like what hands he could be doing this with, you know, and it's either ace, king, aces, or kings, like those three. And then even then, I didn't even think he could have ace, king here, just because of the fact that, you know, why would he do this with me behind and then the player being able to shove? Like, are you ever going to feel comfortable with your ace, king? I think a lot of people overplay ace, king as well. Like, you know, it's the best non-pair hand pre-flop, but you're dominated against aces and kings. So I think I don't think you do this with ace king. So I really felt, I said, all right, well, this guy either has aces or he has kings. Like jacks potentially, but that's really the only hand I beat, and I was just I was in the grinder. And nice thing is I had a long time bank. 'Cause a lot of my decisions was making quick, and we made the hero fold. And besides, too, you know, if I can't call here, and this is the thing too, right? Like I can't call here because then that's 2.5 million, it's a fourth of my stack, and then he shoves. You know what I mean? Like I call here, he shoves, I'm screwed, and this was a shover fold, and I just felt like I just can't do it. You know. So next hand, ace king, a little bit nicer to look at. And yet again, we're just going to put maximum pressure on these guys here, and we shove on them. He actually ended up asking me what I had, and we talked about the hand, and he actually told me he had kings. So I was very happy about that. And yeah, folded queens pre-flop. And the crazy thing about that too, right? Assume he was being honest, he had kings, which I really don't know why he would lie after the fact. Especially to make a player feel good. You know, usually when you lie, like, if you didn't bluff a guy and the guy's like, oh, is that a bluff? You tell him it's a bluff so you can make him feel bad about his thinking and make him play worse. You know, you don't really give a person confidence. So I really don't think he was being dishonest when he said he had kings. But, you know, if I would have just jammed, he's going to snap call me. Like, that guy would have folded. He snap calls me. And this is the only guy in the tournament that could bust me, and I would have got 6th place. So by folding, you know, I ended up winning 58,000, I already said, but I would have got 13,000. So I literally folded queens pre-flop and made $40,000 for that fold. So that's the thing, you know, I've been trying to practice on making really hard folds. I can be a somewhat calling station, but this is an easy call here. Pocket fives. Let's take another player out and get a pay jump. No. Double pair board. Counterfeiting us. And this is actually a couple of flips I started losing. That's the thing with tournaments. Reason why you want to get a lot of chips. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you got to win your all-ins. You know who says that, you know. One day Ryan's going to be commenting on my videos. We're going to be degenning it up, but you know, you do have to win your all-ins. But my whole motto too is make sure that you have a lot of chips, so when you don't win your all-ins, you're all right. You know, you don't want to be the short stack, lose your all-in when you're ahead, and then be upset because the other guy hit it. I'd rather be the guy that could lose that all-in and still play. So this hand right here, I raise, he calls, I bet, and we end up making 2 pair here. I end up checking this back because I really don't know too many hands that will get value from here, except ace deuce, to be honest. But that's about it, you know. I don't think like this, and the reason too is like with other players, I could probably go for some thin value here, but with this player specifically, like he was on the tighter, nittier side. And I don't think he would just call late in the time I was thinking, because he obviously called with a gut shot the whole way down. But before I saw this hand, you know, I was thinking like the other hands that I did see, you know, he was actually playing pretty solid, and I just didn't think I could really get much value. So you can see here, if I would have bet, it would have been pointless anyway. He just folds. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he blocks spades and the straight, if he got a little bit creative and raised me, it would have been pretty sick, you know. We still lose to a lot of sets, pocket twos and such. Nice. So that's actually what got me the chip leader here, 1 of 6. And we went from 4 of 9 to 1 of 6, just pure aggression. And this hand, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm snapping it off. Easy. And then this guy with his pocket kings pre-flop that I folded against. He's actually a pretty good player. You know, I've seen him after this tournament, we actually pretty talked and stuff. He's a pretty cool dude. But yeah, so he three bets to 13 big blinds, and I'm just thinking here. I was like, I really don't want to flat. So I mean, I could four bet this, playing a little bit wild and get him to fold. Even if I'm like, let's say against, you know, yeah, the same hand. But I was disappointed until that jack came. Then I was happy. Because at the end of the day, we'd have just lost 5 big blinds chopped to him. But, you know, of course, if I would have 4-bet, we would have taken it down. But, you know, then he 5-bet jams on us. I mean, you just kind of got to pick your spots. Here, ace-5. Raise and fold. This is most of the tournament, to be honest. I've just been playing super aggressive, raising pretty much most of my hands and abusing the short stacks. I mean, look at that, 10-7, you know, looks like a pretty nice hand. And here we're actually down to 5 people, so at this point we're guaranteed 18,000. This is when we started discussing deals, and this guy, actually the shortest stack, was the one that was unable to accept it because he's playing on iPad. Which this guy actually ends up, you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but he actually ends up doing better than 5th, so it worked out for him for sure, but, you know, kind of screwed up everybody else. So here, have flush draw. I've been check raising this guy all day, and I know he's pretty pissed about it, but hey, that's what you get for leading out half pot and not committing. I mean, at this point, we're just freaking dominating the field. 13 million chips. I think this tournament, I believe you started out, can't remember, probably with like 10,000 chips, something like that. Maybe 50,000. 13 million. It just shows you how many actual people there were. And the cool thing too is there's like this little view counter over here that showed how many people were watching us. I think it was like 110 people. So here he leads out. I float one because he could definitely be doing this with just a flush draw, 1 diamond. When he checked back here, I decided to check, and my whole thing was, I think I said to myself, all right, if he checks, I'm definitely gonna bet here and put all his stuff under pressure. I mean, yep. See, I was gonna check. And so my whole thought process is, right, he could be trapping with the ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, but there's really only those hands that beat us. We block boats, right? And pocket queens makes sense that he would bet on the flop, check the turn when he boats up, and then check the river. So pocket queens makes the most sense here. But because I'm in this hand with 7-8, you know, I don't think he, I think this was a limp pot. And I was gonna like, yeah, I'm gonna show the bluff. This is when I saw 110 people. And I decided to bet out 3 big blinds. Reason being is because it's gonna accomplish the same thing. You know, the bigger the bet, the bigger it looks like a bluff. You know, so sometimes I'll value bet really, really big, like pot, or like pot and a half, and when I bluff, I tend to go on the lower side because, one, it looks like you want to get called, especially on a board like this. You know, very unlikely that he has diamonds because there's so many diamonds out there. You know, if there's 13 diamonds in the deck and 4 of them are on the board, so that leaves just 9 out there, and the only ones that are going to be feel comfortable with calling a bet is an ace or a king. Like, is he really going to call with 10 of diamonds? He could. In fact, I would, because I know exactly what I'm doing here, and people have tried to do that, what I'm doing against me, and I can call. So that's the risk I'm willing to take. But if I bet 3, I'm potentially giving away 3 chips to try to win almost 12. you know, so you don't really need that many bluffs for this to be profitable. Even if he calls here, he folds, he doesn't have to fold that much for it to be profitable. The fact that he folded here, it's good. Even if he would have called, um, you know, it's not the worst thing. So here we basically have as many chips as almost like two of these guys here. And I was actually like this is where I really felt like I played some of my best poker. I remember I had my friends with me when this happened, and they basically were like quiet. I had my headset in, you know, just kind of chilling, and I literally had music playing, and I was like just watching everybody, man. I was like looking at this guy, seeing like how many seconds he was acting, and just figuring everything out, and then finding really good spots, finding some weakness. I think check here. We should be good most of the time. Just check it, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, he did it. Oh, what? All right, I'm gonna pause here. Comment below on the 7-6 hand. What would you guys do? So remember, I was in the big blind. This guy called on the button, and check on the flop, check on the turn, and now a king comes, and he's betting. So what's he repping, as Boski would say? What's he repping? I just said, you know what? Like, this is just a very bad bluff. That's what I said. But you know, I still have to think it through. You know, I'm just thinking about it. You know, making him feel a little bit better about his bluff. I was just like, yeah, he could be doing this with a king, but I don't think so. Good old 9-6. Yeah, so not only can I fold queen's pre-flop, I can call with like bottom pair. Imagine that. I think he's upset about that because that was a quick raise. He that was a I'm outmatched on this table kind of raise. A name not important if you're watching this video. He played well. I mean, to be honest, everybody on this final table here, I believe, played well. You know, I think they all deserve to be here. And yeah, it was a good game, man. You know, I just, you know, this tournament specifically though, I just felt really confident. I felt like I was in my zone. I just felt like this was my time. You know, I just felt real good about it. And this is unfortunate, you know, this guy doubling up the short stack. So it's not really the worst thing for me, just because he would have been closer in chips to us. We would have had a pay jump, but I'm not really too worried about pay jumps right now, just because I have a massive lead, and it's better for this guy to lose, for D-Lo to lose the flips, and then just have pressure on everybody else. So he raised here, and I 3-bet him with ace-jack, blocking aces and jacks. And, you know, if he jams, easy fold. And if he folds, we win. So there was actually there was a turning point where I did lose the chip lead, and you will see that soon enough, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, the thing about this guy is like, this is like me really being focused and paying attention to, like, you know, what they do. The reason I floated here is not only because we have a gut shot with the jack to the nut straight, but he literally tends to bet the flop and then give up on the turn unless he has like a pretty decent hand. So, you know, even if he has a hand like ace queen right here, you know, we have an over for that. We have the gut shot, and if he if not, then he's gonna be checking back a lot. You have a text message. So I just felt like he was weak, and with just the pattern I've seen where like he'll bet pre-flop, bet the flop, check the churn, you know, I decided to just do a little less than half pot. And I figure if he calls, we try to hit a king or a jack. I still think a king is good. And no, he just folds. So this is literally paying attention to the table dynamics. Like you guys are seeing the short version of this video, which is gonna be like an hour. I apologize about that. But yeah, I think the final table is like 2 hours, the unedited version. And that's just unfortunate, you know, sevens versus ace king. And this guy is becoming a pain. And like I said, you know, you gotta win your all-ins, but it doesn't matter when you have chips. Because there I was slightly ahead, you know, we do that 100 times and I win 52 of them. So you just gotta, yet again, 4-bet pressure, or 3-bet pressure. He jams, I fold. He actually has not been active, so I definitely think he had like probably jacks plus there. Decided to limp here. Yeah, just throw one big blind out there. Little stab at it. When he calls, we check. Fold. Yeah, I mean, he could be doing that a lot with ace highs. Not necessarily a boat, but we lose to that as well. So we lose to that as well. This is just us talking about it. Yeah, smallest stacks is the one not agreeing to it. Let's take him out, make 2K more. Uh, the funny thing is yeah, this is right before the deal happened, and at first he actually didn't want to take a deal. The shortest guy, which I really don't understand. Like, if you're the shortest guy by a lot, you know, like the next guy has almost double what you have. Why wouldn't you take a deal and guarantee yourself more money? But yeah, so this was a weird hand. I should have 3-bet this one. Um, and when he continued betting here, I think we could definitely peel another one off. Just because he's not gonna have a lot of 7 or 10 X's unless he has like ace 10. That's about it. And overpairs, you know, which we block aces and jacks, so he could still have ace queen that we lose to. But besides that, we beat all the king queens, queen jack hands, which we also block. You know, if he was just getting out of line with some of those holdings, we could definitely be beating that. And my thinking here too is it's 2.6 to win almost 13 big blinds. So we're getting pretty good odds. I think if we hit an ace, we're good. I think if we hit a jack, we're good. I think if a 10 comes, we're either chopping some of the times or actually beating a lot of his weaker pocket pairs. You know, anything from 2s through 6s. And he ended up having ace 10. So unfortunate the 10 came out instead of an ace. I think I could have definitely folded the turn, but I think I was just kind of getting a little too sticky there. So yeah, but it's just in my mind, I just felt like an ace or a jack would have been good. Of course, the ace would have given him 2 pair, but yeah, I put him on just a lot of like, you know, Broadway holdings and very small pairs. Yeah, so this is the make a deal button. And we flop it open ender here. So bet and take, pretty easy with 5 high. Yeah, so I still ramp up the aggression here. It just makes sense to. All right, so we have ace nine suited here in the small blind. The button ends up raising us two big blinds. We call, and then we actually decide to donk lead here. A lot of times too, this board is going to be favoring us more than him, and it's going to slow down a lot of his holdings. I think like even pocket aces here, kings, queens is just going to call and reevaluate the river just because you're scared of a lot of straight draws sets, or mate straights, you know, with Jack 10 and 6 5s that I could definitely have. Also, a lot of two pair combinations. So it's really, I'm repping most of that range from the small blind. And I think even if you have overpair, you're very uncomfortable here. So that's pretty much what happened there. And we're almost done with the video, guys. So if you're still here watching, I really appreciate it. It was actually a lot of work to edit this, especially not having any commentary on it prior to this. And I didn't even check if the mic is good, so quality could suck for the audio, and I might have to redo this video, but hopefully not. I think like here, I should be raising a lot bigger. Yeah, look, everyone's like, boom, this is the first time that the deal. Nice bet, MF. I don't want to say it with you too, but that actually made me a little bit of money. Probably made me an extra 1,000 from 3 big blinds I kept. So this was ultimately the deal. 49, 42, 41, 36, 34. So you could see 5th place pays 18. So I mean, like, everybody is happy with this, but the deal did not happen because this guy's not see the numbers, and I don't think he could accept. So no deal. We have a player knocked out, so we're down to 4 people, guaranteed 26 grand. So I think my biggest cash online before this from older sites was probably like around 7 or 8K. So this already is beating my highest here with the open ender. Bet the flop, bet the churn, and I say pressure. You got a king, but he did not. I like that play too because I put so many chips out there. Like, it's very hard for me to find a bluff. Like, I think,
excuse me, boss.
If I was him here, like, all right, so I'm big blind. He defends. All right, so I call here. He checks. Like I said, he bets. Always checks the turn. I'm leading here, right? I could have all the flushes, random 2 pairs, just a lot of stuff. And here, with these 2 players, by the way, I think I didn't show it here, but there's one hand where I lost to him on a bluff. I think I ended up losing probably like 20 big blinds to him. I think I ended up having like a flush or a straight draw, something like that didn't come through. I didn't find that footage. I think it was like cut out, and that's why everything reversed. So even though I lost a lot of chips, I still was second just because they were low. So even with this bluff, if you look, this is 9 big blinds in the middle. I knew it was really important, and I was willing to risk more to make it seem like I can't have any bluffs here. Like, if you think about it, right? If he calls here, I'm down to 14 big blinds, and that puts me like in last place. So like, what bluff can I really find here? You know, unless I was really nutted. You know what I mean? So I was like playing it like, okay, if I had a flush, how would I play it? And I played it just like that. I mean, if I was in his shoes, even with the 76 big blinds, a short stack with huge IC, I mean, you know, just 10,000 for the next pay jump. So the fact that I'm like risking so much, I would almost fold most kings if I didn't have a club in my hand, just because of the strength of this bet compared to chips. So that's actually what ended up happening, which I was happy with. I was like praying for a fold there. So down to the final four, still in second place, locked up 26,000. And that's the funny thing, like these guys just were staying out of the way, and it was just like I was not backing down. And even here, I got a pair of nines, usually good here. And like I said, he usually checks back the turn. Like he'll bet the flop, check back the turn. So look, let's see. He usually gives up. Yep. And here, I was actually gonna check call him. Like the reason I checked was so I can bluff catch, and unfortunately he did not. And you see he had queen 10. Basically he'll bet the flop, check the turn every freaking time. And like I love players like this where they're just like really easy to predict, and that's a player you don't want to be. You want to be unpredictable. We're down to the final three. We'll guarantee $37,000 here. And yeah, at this point, I was just thinking like, all right, how can I maximize the spot here? Because at the end of the day, like this guy has such a huge chip lead, and me and this guy are pretty close. So what I have to do is try to absorb his stack and basically prevent this guy from taking this guy's chips some way, somehow. Like I need to be the guy that takes his chips. And if me and this guy battles it out, I need to preserve my chips against him. So basically get chips from this guy and avoid giving it to this guy, as ultimately I had to turn things around. So when he bet here ace 4-10, like I said, a lot of his weakness, especially with his betting patterns, is what I really picked up on. I only have queen high here, but I block a lot of, the ace queens, ace nines, hands like that. And yeah, I went for it. I just felt like, if he has a pair like a 10 or 4, he's going to snap fold. Even if he has some kind of like gut shot, like we saw that he was prone to trying to chase, he's going to fold that as well, So if he has like king jack and he did this bet, like you're going to fold to most 3 bets here in the spot. So I raise it to 8 and he folds. And just like that, we're a lot further ahead than the guy in last place right now. And here we're just kind of chipping down just from the antes and the blind increasing. Bets one, I call, and I'm just looking to check call him down, catch a lot of his bluffs. Even some weaker value here. We chop with a lot of hands, but we take it down. Yeah, so you have pocket jacks or queen jack, something like that. I don't remember this this hand. I'm just trying to think how creative I try to get here. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is I'm still gonna be too aggressive. The thing about it is too is as I'm becoming more aggressive, he actually needs to play back, just because now like he doesn't have much to lose. I have double the chips, and the guy in first has double my chips, so he really doesn't have much to lose per se, unless like what's his alternative to winning this tournament, right? Like, is he gonna just fold everything, wait to get aces and kings, and then get it all in and hope that we have something good enough to call and double up? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he should definitely be just shoving a lot wider and getting more chips like that, as opposed to waiting to double up with a good hand, in my opinion. I think he's just overfolding here, especially three-handed. Like right there, he called. Why did you call? He should be shoving pretty much anything. And yeah, so here I have a flush draw, I have a gut shot, and I figured he was gonna fold. I was more worried about him calling, but kind of went for it. Even with a 10 high flush, I mean, it's hard to make flushes. That's the thing too, people don't realize. My motto at poker, especially in tournaments, is be more aggressive and fold less. I think I got that from some kind of course or something like that. Split Suit says something like that. I don't know if it was him or somewhere else, but basically, or it could have been Jonathan Little or something like that. But basically, you just want to be a lot more aggressive because one, it's hard to make hands in general, right? Like, think about it. Most of the times you miss the flop, 2/3 of the time. So this was actually funny. I was typing something up, and it was Jack King versus Ace King, and I wasn't even paying attention to the hand, to be honest. Once I folded, I didn't really realize they were all in, and then my friends were in the room, and like everyone's like, "Yo, yeah." I'm like, "What?" And then I look back, and I'm like, "Oh, we're heads up." So I was like, "All right." So that guy actually was the reason why we couldn't accept the deal in fifth place. So I thank him because I would have got $10,000 less than what I ended up getting. And I thought it was bad for him. But the funny thing is if the deal worked, he would have got like 34,000. So he literally only made himself $3,000, but he cost the other players like anywhere from freaking 18 to like $20,000. So if I was the other guys, I'd be pretty pissed. So here he says deal. I say yes. And like I explained previously, my heads up game is just not where it's at. And embarrassingly enough, you will see that pretty soon. I was happy with it, you know. Even chop. I mean, I could have clicked the even button, but he already accepted the ICM, and I didn't want to bicker over 3 grand and potentially lose 6 that I'm already guaranteed. You know what I mean? And I didn't think I deserved the even chop just because he had twice as much chips as me. I wouldn't accept it if I was in his shoes. And here he already has a huge chip lead. 90 bigs versus 37. Alright, 101 versus 36. And funny enough, too, I actually started playing a lot of spin and goes, like 3-handed, so I've gotten a little bit better, heads up. But like here, right? I don't know if this is a good play, but I got a pair. I'm like, alright, I know it's hard to make pairs. I'm going to check raise him instead of realizing my equity here. But any 9 or 8 could probably shove here and be good. And I don't know if he just had something really strong, like 2 pair, and I just got unlucky to be bluffing that spot. Well, that wasn't even really a bluff. It was trying to fold out over pairs because I figured if my 2 is good on the flop, it's not going to be usually by the river. So, and then pretty much too, I really didn't have too many cards here at the end. And just trying to find spots, missing flops. Like here, not really sure what to do. Open. But when I get the flush draw and the gut shot to the straight flush draw, I don't know if I like that call. I think a raise would have been better. I bet here and he folds. So that's just repping my range because I raise pre-flop. But it's so funny how, like, you know, poker could be so different, you know, versus like 8-handed, 9-handed, heads up. Like here I had 2 pair and no action. I think this was the most nutted hand I ended up having on the heads up. And I think that should have been a defend, especially from the button, but I'm not sure. Yet again, like I said, I'm not a pro. I don't claim to be a pro. You know, I'm trying to learn the game like everybody else. I think this was a shove here with 20 bigs, especially after he opens. It's just nice that we actually ended up chopping. So this should have been the final hand, but we play on. 10 high here. Don't think I could do much. Really don't know why I floated there. I get the gut shot, but 4 jacks means we have 8%. And 8% is very hard to hit. I think I remember this hand. I was pretending, like, I was thinking about shoving to rep a 5, but I was just worried that a king would call, so I went with the value hand, bet a third of the pot, and he probably would have definitely called us. I don't know, he might have folded to a shove, because that definitely is a strong line. Maybe it could have worked, you know? Maybe it would have just been out a little bit sooner. But, yeah, I mean, heads up hands are just really weird. And at this point, I mean, to be honest, I was already up, like I said, about 2.5 days. I was happy. I locked up 58 grand. I'm not saying, you know, last 5,000 wasn't anything, because it's still about 10% of what we already won. And it's still a lot of buy-ins, you know, almost like 50 buy-ins. For 25 buy-ins, you know, so it was just like, from the exhaustion, from kind of like the excitement, and at this point I cared a lot less. So I don't know how different it would have been if I didn't take the deal and played for the, you know, $22,000. I'm not sure. I think I just shove here. It's gonna be a chalk. Man, he is like getting all the hands. Yeah, I mean, 6 blinds, you gotta shove. Go ace, king. But wait, it's not over. Yep, the thing too is, if I was him, I'd be like really frustrated, just because like this is the first time I got it in bad, we chop. The second time I got it in bad, and this is actually the final hand of the tournament. So basically, I'm thinking here, right? He checked it to me, and I'm just like, all right, it's 4 big blinds out there. I have a pair, kind of similar with the deuce jack hand. But I figure maximum fold equity. If I shove here, I could get called by worse, like flush draws, and ended up doubling up through that. And if he has a king, he's probably not folding. But if he has a 9, he's folding. So I'm really targeting flush draws and 9s. And I don't think a king would check back. So I felt pretty confident with this. I think a king is definitely freaking betting the flop, which I don't know why they wouldn't. And he had a king deuce. So granted, it's the weakest king, but I think he should still be betting here. And that's kind of the reason why I shoved in my thinking. And we're out, like Jeff Lowski would say. So that was the tournament. There was 2,700 entries, $200 buy-in. We got second for 58,000. So if you do the math, let's see how many buy-ins that is. 100 buy-ins is 20, so about almost 300 buy-ins. Very happy with that. Yeah, it was a pretty good day. It was a pretty good day. So besides that, this is the very first poker vlog of Kingsful. And yeah, I hope to make a lot of vlogs. You know, I really enjoy poker. I currently have my own business, so that's what I've been doing. But to be honest, like, I've always had a passion for poker, and if I could do that full time and travel and go to different casinos and go to these meetup games and meet some of the guys, I think that I enjoy it a lot more, just because, you know, everything I do for fun has already been kind of like playing poker and doing all that. So I travel a lot, played poker in a lot of different casinos. Next video, you guys can actually see I've been to 20 plus casinos, and I have every chip, you know, from Vegas to Florida. And it's funny because seeing all these vlogs, it's like most of the places these guys are going to, whether it's Bellagio or, you know, Rounders, Card Room in Texas. Like I've been to a lot of those places. I went to WPT in Florida. I'm like, I'm already doing this stuff. Why not just document it? So I have a lot more videos coming up as far as like a lot of these tournaments. Not as big as this, but I've had a couple of FTs, and I have I don't have footage of live just because around the area I'm in, it's very hard to record. But I'm willing to do some kind of like program where I go over the hands, so I have record of those hands, but just no footage. So I don't know if you guys want to see that or not. Comment down below and subscribe. So looking forward to doing a lot of this. Peace.